Ladies and gentlemen, Linda Feinholz. Thank you. So let me ask you, how many of you would like to get out of bed inspired by how you're going to spend your day? Thank you. And how many of you would like to make boatloads of money so that you can use it for whatever's important to you? Thank you. And how many of you would like to know that you figured out how to run your business easier and more profitably so that you can spend more time doing what matters most to you, whether that's with friends, family, building community? Great, thank you. I'm Linda Feinholz, and I thank you and want to acknowledge you for taking the time to be here today, because it means you're committed to building your business. Now, one of the things that I've come to recognize in working with entrepreneurs and business owners is that nowadays, most of us are busy instead of profitable. Who here can relate to that? Yeah. So today, I want you to focus on one thing and one thing only. I want you to put all your attention and energy and intelligence on how to create a breakthrough business and get it all done easier and make that your new normal. Now, what do I mean by that? What I'd like you to do is take a pen, paper, your iPad, your computer, whatever you have in front of you. And I would like you to write down the 3 key things you're not getting accomplished in your business. And I mean that. Take the time right now to write down. You know what they are. The 3 most important things that you're not getting to in your business because you're too busy being absorbed in useless meetings or having your time distracted. And what I want you to do after you've written those 3 down is I want you to think about, what is it costing you to not get those 3 things accomplished? That cost might be time, it might be lost opportunities, it might be money that's escaping because you're too distracted to notice the opportunity was right there in front of your face. Take a moment and write down what are the 3 things you're not getting to and what it's costing you. Go ahead and do that now. The reason I'm asking you to do this is because what I've come to recognize is that success depends on how you use your time, your attention, all your energy. And if you're like me, we have these periods where we get completely lost and absorbed in the minutia. Well, many years ago, I found myself doing work that frankly I couldn't stand. But when I turned around to colleagues and tried to discuss it with them, I had no one I could discuss it with. Why? Because anytime I tried to bring it up, their answer was, "That's normal." Who here can relate to that? Yeah, thank you. Well, frankly, I didn't like the life I was living, and I didn't like me in that life. So I became resolved to figure out a way of doing it easier, of feeling more passionate about my work, about knowing that I was taking my expertise and turning it into value and having ideal clients that I was working with. And I became even more passionate as I kept seeing those opportunities for others. And that's what I want to share with you today. Anyone here relate to that? Great. I immersed myself so that I could figure out what the tools were and be able to bring them to you. So today is for you if you're sick and tired of sitting in your car trying to avoid going in to your office. And oh, by the way, if you're like me and you actually have a home office, it's the same thing. I've experienced where I don't want to walk into my home office. So whether you're in your car or you're wandering down the hall trying to avoid that office, who here can relate to that? Yeah, thank you. This is for you if you find yourself walking into your office knowing you're going to spend all of your time like a hamster in a wheel working on all the small stuff instead of the big stuff that needs your time and attention. This is for you if you know at the end of the month you're going to look at your bank account, you're going to look in your wallet, and again, yet again, there's going to be less money there, less profit brought in from your business than you know you ought to be able to create. Who can relate to that? Yeah. This is for you if you're sick and tired of sitting in useless meetings, knowing that this is the 6th time you've discussed the same topic and still not gotten further ahead. Or in fact, you're discussing things that are so small and so unimportant while the really important stuff is sitting on the back burner. Who here can relate to that? Yeah, thank you. This is for you if you can't even think about leaving to go by plane, train, or automobile on vacation unless you first figure out how you're going to be in touch with your office daily, sometimes multiple times a day, to make sure everything that needs doing is getting done. Who can relate to that? Yeah. By the way, today is not for you if you like to brag and boast about how tough business is. If that's what you want, grab your phone, head on out back, because for the next hour, I'm going to be focusing on teaching you how to do it easier. That's what today is all about. Okay? So there are 3 things I'm going to cover with you today. The first thing is knowing your big why, getting crystal clear about what it is that really excites you and makes you want to spend your life in the business that you're creating. If that's important to you, if that's valuable to you, please turn to your neighbor and say, I want that. Great. The second thing we're going to cover is we're going to dispel the myths that you've been carrying about how hard it has to be to build a lucrative, profitable business. And profit is really key and really critical. There's no point in being in business if you're not making a profit. Even if you're a non-profit business, you must have more money coming in than is going out, or you will not have your doors open at the end of the month. And that profit is what enables you to build the life you want, build the company you want, build the community that you want, to use that money for what's important to you, what matters most. If that's valuable to you, if that's important to you, please turn to your neighbor, give him a high five and say, I want that. Great. The third thing we're going to cover today is critical, maybe the most important. I'm going to teach you how to stop having useless meetings. Did you know there are 5 kinds of meetings? And if you're having the wrong kind of meeting, it's no wonder that what needs to get solved is still sitting on the back burner. So by the end of today, you're going to know how to find the right meeting that you, whether you're working with yourself to solve something or you are working with other team members, how to use the right meeting to get things solved. If that would be valuable to you, please turn to your neighbor, give him a high five and say, I want that. Great. And finally, I'm going to uncover for you how you can find the riches that are waiting for you, the profit centers in your business. And I'm going to show you the steps to take in order to find them for you and your business. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Oh. Rewind. Finally, I'm going to share with you how you can recover, how you can uncover the hidden profits in your business and the exact steps to take in order to really run a business easily and profitably. So, please, if you have any ahas as I'm working with you today, if you have any breakthroughs from the ideas that I'm sharing, feel free to shout them out. I want to know that what I'm teaching you matters to you and is making a difference for you. So shout out those ahas, shout out breakthrough. However, I have so much material I'm trying to cover, and normally I teach this in 3-day workshops and 3-day trainings. So clearly there's no way I can cover all of it for you today. So please, if you have questions, I'd be delighted to answer them in the back later. If you'll hold them, I'll get started now. Great. So, how many of you know the myth of Sisyphus, the king in a Greek myth? So, don't know why, but every single day Sisyphus is pushing this rock, an enormous boulder, up the hill to the top of a mountain. And somehow every day, at the end of the day, that rock ends up back down at the bottom of that mountain. And he heads on back down the mountain, comes back around, and the next day, where is he again? He's pushing that rock up and up and up the hill. Now, for those of you who know me, if I were walking down the road and I saw this going on day after day, well, this is probably what you'd see. I'd be strolling over and I'd be tapping him on the shoulder and saying, excuse me, sir, but could you explain, I'm just curious, why are you trying to get that boulder up there? And maybe he'd say to me, trying to build a castle up at the top of the hill. Fair enough. So, oh, okay, I see. The profit of all this time and energy and effort is to build a castle up at the top of the hill. Would you be interested if I could show you a few systems for getting that boulder pushed up more easily and maybe even keeping it up there once you got it up there? Cool. And maybe you'd be interested if I kind of pull together a whole bunch of people over here and maybe we put together a team and we had them using this system to get that rock up there and keep it up there while you stayed up there and figured out what your vision was for this castle and, you know, get another team to bring up another rock. Would that interest you? Oh, and by the way, would you like to make that your new normal? Yeah. So, would that be valuable to you? So, I've spent the last 30 years helping people just like Sisyphus figure out what it was they were trying to accomplish and how to do it easier, more profitably, with systems and teams that let them focus on what needs their attention most. In the past decades, I've spent my time with companies like Ernst, with Disney, with Mattel, with Fortune 50 companies, and with entrepreneurial companies that you've never heard of. I've contributed as an author to multiple business books. I've had my own online radio show on business topics. I've written over 150 articles. So you can see I have a passion for trying to help businesses like you figure out how to do it easier. How to get their rocks and your rocks out of the way so you can grow the business. Now, when I was at Ernst, I was billed out at $50,000 a project. In today's dollars, that's something on the order of $200,000. Now, I work independently, so my prices aren't quite that high. But here's the thing. The thing is that in business and in life, we have rocks. That's half my story, is helping other companies, helping businesses get the rocks out of their way. But we all know that there's the other half of life as well. And in my life, I've had my own rocks that I needed to get out of the way. For my 30th birthday, I got a beautiful present. I got breast cancer. And for the next 18 months, I had multiple surgeries, in and out of hospitals, while at the same time having to figure out how to take care of my clients. I had to figure out what my new normal was going to be. How many here have a woman in your life who's had to fight and struggle with breast cancer and figure out what her new normal was going to be? It might have been a sister, a mother, a partner. Yeah. I have such admiration for their battling through and figuring out what their new normal was going to be. Yeah. Share it with them. Tell them how much you admire them. Yeah. Thank you. So a mere few years later, I was driving to a morning meeting, and it was the first rainy day in November in Los Angeles, and as many of you know, we don't get a lot of rain in Los Angeles. So took that road up over the hill from the city and into the valley and down the other side. When I regained consciousness, my side really hurt and I couldn't see a thing. I couldn't see anything because the airbag was completely covering me, so all I saw was this bright white glow. And my side really ached. And I could hear voices off to the side. And I said, excuse me, could you help me sit up? Because this is really uncomfortable. And the voice said to me, it's okay, ma'am. We're working on getting you out. What I found out after they were able to cut me out of the car was that a woman coming the other direction stomped on her brakes and slid into oncoming traffic. And her car hit mine and that exploded the bag. But she hit me off center, which turned me sideways, so that the truck coming behind me slammed into my driver's door, crushing me between the door and the armrest and pushing me 50 yards down the road. When the car came to a rest, the driver of the truck got out and came around to the passenger door and pried it open and held my hand until the rescue crew was able to come. And they managed to cut me out of the car with all my ribs broken, my pelvis broken in 3 places, and my spleen crushed. And I spent 11 days in the intensive care unit and another 12 days on the orthopedic floor before they sent me home, where for the next 5 months, I had to learn to sit again. I had to learn how to stand again. I had to learn how to walk again. And during those 5 months, I spent a lot of time praying I'd be able to think again. Because the concussion was so bad, I couldn't finish sentences and I couldn't even retain the thought in a conversation to even remember what was being said to me or what I was trying to say. And all I knew was that I was praying that I'd be able to think again and do the work which I loved doing. And as I worked my way through what was going to be my new normal, I had a lot of time to think about. So when I got my mind back and when I could do that work again, what was it that was going to make it worthwhile? What was my big why? And I came up with 2 things that I'm going to share with you today, because as I've shared them with friends, they found them inspiring, and I want you to have them too. The first one I call my Perfect Tuesday.